rest of this evening. Not ruling out the chance for a stronger storm, but that tornado threat does look much lower for us. We'll have another look at that forecast in just about 10 minutes.
Thanks so much, Riley. Tornadoes today making their way through parts of South Carolina. These are the effects of Tropical Depression Fred hitting our area. Our Laura Warren is live at Briggs Road in Edgefield County, where one of the tornadoes hit. Laura, what can you tell us? So I'm out here. This is about half a mile from Jerosix Berry Farm. If you're familiar with that area, you can see this family had a few trees down, some pretty sizable trees. And also, if we walk you around here, you can see this kind of crumpled up metal. This used to be a shed. They say it held a lot of knickknacks. It wasn't anything they can't replace, but luckily they have had a good sense of humor about all of this since their home was spared and everyone was safe. They're just thankful. But you see this little baby Jesus that was in their manger scene in this shed was blown clean across the yard. And like I said, they have had such a good sense of humor about this. They say the good Lord was watching them and protecting them. So if that's the worst of it, then they can manage. Also, you can see they had a lot of people out here helping out today with chainsaws, chopping up some of these trees that they had down out here. But overall, they say they're still processing this because the storm, it just hit so fast.
I was sitting in my den, watching TV, Channel 12, at my desk. Then a flash of lightning come through right there in the window.
And that flash of lightning, he said, was serious. You could tell that storm was on top of them. They felt like they were right in the middle of it, which from the looks of things out here, they probably were. But luckily, they say everything can be replaced. Here is the Holy Family, and they are just thankful and lucky that they will be here to celebrate another Christmas, because they said this could have been so much worse. Laura, live in Edgefield County, thanks so much for that. And thankfully, no one was hurt through all of that damage they experienced there. An Augusta dispatcher and an Aiken public safety officer have died from COVID. Our Sloan O'Cone went to talk to dispatch to see how they're handling this COVID outbreak.
Here at the North Augusta Department of Public Safety, several of their officers have tested positive for COVID, and officials say that some cases are mild, but others are receiving medical treatment. Family and friends confirm 43-year-old Aiken Public Safety Officer Kevin Simmons and Richmond County Dispatcher Alexandra Brown both died of COVID in the past few days. Officer Simmons just started with the department in May. Brown worked in the Augusta 911 dispatch office. Her co-workers called her a comedian and the glue that held us together. They said it'll be hard to find a personality to fill her headset. Just recently, North Augusta officers and the Aiken Department of Public Safety finished training with one another. Now, North Augusta says this training is not to blame for the outbreak. It's hard to pinpoint where they were infected because they're always going out on calls and coming in contact with people. We know that Richmond County follows CDC guidelines, and we will be sure to update you when we get those questions answered. In North Augusta, Sloan O'Cone on your side.
Thanks so much, Sloan, for that update, and we're going to continue to follow this story and update you once we learn more. We're still waiting to hear more on a string of shootings that happened over the weekend. We know 2 of those shootings are connected: the Graniteville killing of a 14-year-old and a clerk shot at a Family Dollar in Rennes. Police are still looking into the first shooting on Saturday, a woman who was driving on Deansbridge Road. For now, all police can tell us is that the case is still under investigation. Richmond County deputies are still looking for a man who ran from police, then jumped into the Augusta Canal. Last night, he led deputies on a chase and then jumped off the I-20 bridge. Take a look at the video right now. It shows the moments right before the man jumps. This is some of the video of him jumping. The full video is on our website, WRDW.com. We've reached out to Richmond County, but they have nothing new to update us on right now. Some South Carolina schools are going against Governor Henry McMaster. The governor recently said that requiring a mask mandate would be illegal in the state. The General Assembly prevented school districts from making their own mandates, but that hasn't stopped schools. Yesterday, Richland County and Charleston County both made the decision to require masks. McMaster passed a law in the state's budget that prohibits districts from using state funds to enforce wearing masks. And with many schools in South Carolina deciding to go against the governor's wishes, today South Carolina Superintendent of Education Molly Spearman held a news conference to speak about COVID school recommendations. She talked about how the decision should be at the local level, but is vowing to uphold the law.
I've made it clear that I agree with them that the decision should be at their level, but I will be reminding them of the law. And none of lawlessness.
She said either the legislature should come back in session to make a decision or the battle will head to court. A group of South Carolina Democrats wants state lawmakers. Our state's hitting a milestone today. Georgia has seen more than 1 million confirmed COVID cases over the entire pandemic. Today, they're reporting more than 4,000 new cases. Richmond County on the rise with almost 800 confirmed cases within the past 2 weeks. Columbia County in that same time period seeing less than 500 cases. Burke County has been seeing less COVID cases than our two biggest counties. They're at 70, and McDuffie County seeing 91 cases within the past 2 weeks. In South Carolina, almost 2,000 new confirmed COVID cases today. Many of those are coming out of Aiken County with over 1,000 cases within the past 2 weeks. Edgefield County only saw 130 in those 2 weeks. McCormick County had 30 cases in that same time period. The number of COVID cases continue to soar nationwide, placing a strain on our nation's healthcare system. Now, federal health officials and the Biden administration may soon recommend a third booster shot to combat the illness. Dan Shinneman is looking at boosters coming soon.
As COVID cases continue to spread across the country, sources tell NBC News federal health officials and medical experts are expected to soon recommend COVID booster shots for most Americans. The plan would be for people who have already received the second dose of the Pfizer or Moderna vaccines to get a booster shot 8 months later, changing guidance during the evolving pandemic.
We're dealing with an illness that mankind has never seen before, and we're trying to figure it out as we move forward.
Moving forward in a separate program, third doses are already being administered to immunocompromised Americans following last week's FDA authorization.
There was no hesitation. Why not? When so many people hesitate, why weren't you hesitating? Because I trust science.
While the highly contagious Delta variant surges, communities and cities are also taking steps to slow the spread. Effective today, New York City is requiring proof of vaccination to enter restaurants and many entertainment venues.
Do you have your cards with you or a negative test?
Similar measures in New Orleans. In Dallas, at the band's request, the price of admission to Monday night's Maroon 5 concert included proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test. Stepped up action in the fight against COVID. Dan Shenneman, NBC News.
And we'll be keeping an eye out for President Biden speaking tomorrow about COVID booster shots. In Florida, where COVID cases have been rising, lines are forming to get monoclonal antibody treatment. Last week, Governor Ron DeSantis talked about the treatment as another tool in the fight against COVID. This can be used for people who already have been diagnosed with COVID and have a high risk for severe illness. More research is coming out about pregnant women and the COVID vaccine. The study from the University of Washington says those who were pregnant or breastfeeding handled the vaccine well. All had some kind of side effect after the dose, but the amount of pregnancy-related side effects were low. And among those who were breastfeeding, some reported a decrease in milk supply for less than 24 hours after being vaccinated. Japan continuing. A ham radio wrong number ended up saving a life even from hundreds of miles away. It started when one man from California got a call from his friend in Oregon. He called him by mistake, but his friend knew something was wrong. His speech was slurring before the call dropped. That friend ended up calling 911, and first responders were able to rescue the friend who had suffered a stroke. Long-distance friendship has strengthened right there for sure, but thankfully he called his friend and he answered. I mean, I can only imagine if you called someone and they didn't answer, but certainly thankful for his friend there for saving a life for sure. Riley?
That is a great story there, and I mean, we have a great ham radio field of people here around the CSRA as well. A lot of ham radio people around town, and they played a crucial role in spotting some storms out there earlier. We did have that severe weather out there earlier this afternoon.